to get your fix.
Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready to get your fix?
With the Wicks here on this beautiful Thursday, May 19th, 2022, and welcome to the show, whether that's on Facebook or on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, do me a favor, hit the like and the share. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe. It'd be much appreciated. So, basically this whole week has been pretty dead in the world of the National Football League. Not a lot has been happening, but we expected that, right? We told you right when the draft was starting or kicking off that the week or month, at least 2 months after the draft was going to be kind of dead. Not a lot was going to happen. There are still free agents on the market, okay? Julio Jones, Odell Beckham Jr. There are also others on that list that need to find a new home. Many of them will, okay, probably closer to training camp, I'd assume, because we got to wait to see, kind of wean out the, not only the draft class, but the undrafted free agents and stuff like that, so that the roster limit, it has more spaces, I guess, for these free agents to kind of wiggle their way in. But we got a couple things to dive into today, two quick little tidbits that happened this afternoon, or actually this afternoon. And then we're going to get John's thoughts on some of the stuff that has been happening this entire week. So with that being said, are you ready to get your fix? So before we get started with the NFL stuff, let's give a shout out to Y4 here for having a great concert yesterday. How'd that go?
Well, turnout could have been better. It's college town. College is out. Everybody's gone. People that are there are probably a little bit too old for the environment.
Right.
But, the people that were there, Dizzy Wright, man, that guy is absolutely insane. One of the best performers I've ever seen. And the way he got that crowd involved, and he just had this energy that resonated through the entire 20 people that were there. He got them going. It was crazy. It was a good time.
It's real crazy how, like, when you have these big crowds, you really don't need to get them involved too much because they just all of a sudden, like, go at it.
You just do what the next guy does, where a lot of people are looking at a small crowd and they're like, I don't want to be the guy.
Who's going to start it? And
yeah.
Kind of like way back in the day when you guys first started, when we first got to see Logan perform, we were all sitting at the tables just kind of watching, and he finally was like, come up to the stage, and like one person went to the stage, and then the next came up to the stage. But when you have those small groups, and you have like a performer like a Dizzy Wright, like yourself, and like Logan, it's just like, all right, you guys got to participate with me because that's the type of performance we're trying to put on and stuff like that. So, I'm glad it went well. Unfortunately, I couldn't be along. Gotta make money, okay? Gotta pay the bills somehow. Plus, we went down to Nashville. That was an absolute blast, and we talked about that. A lot of fun. If you haven't been there, recommend it, okay? Drive through St. Louis. Don't stop. The only place you need to stop at, if you really want to, okay, is the Arch, but you really don't even need to do that because you can see
pictures and get out.
Yeah, basically, okay? Absolute, shithole it looked like from what I seen. Okay, windows missing. There's a car on our side of the road facing the opposite way on like the median or something.
Completely destroyed.
Oh yeah, like
nobody cared.
Very, very, very awful. So let's get into some football stuff, huh? So today, longtime Ravens punter Sam Koch has announced his retirement after 16 seasons with the Baltimore Ravens. And the reason this is significant is because he is the longest tenured player in team history.
Wow.
Right? That's what I said. He is 39 years old, okay? He's played in more games for the Baltimore Ravens at 256 Then Terrell Suggs, who played 229, and Ray Lewis, who played 228.
Wow.
That is pretty incredible to be to say the least. And I think special teams, especially kicker and punter, you see them kind of get cycled in and out a lot faster. I think teams realize, especially punter, I guess, because if you hit one bad ball or two bad balls, it seems like they kind of give up on you, and then they just kind of go find another free agent. Like, it's easily replaceable, and they just keep, shuffling through these guys. Kickers especially, too, because if you have one bad season, not only is the organization questioning it, the fan base is screaming from the top of their lungs, "Hey, get this fucker out of here. We don't want any more missed field goals." Okay, especially the Minnesota Vikings.
They should get Blewett.
Who?
Blewett.
Oh, Blewett. They did not.
Poor guy. Why is he a kicker? Out
Yeah,
of all the positions, that last name.
you're not wrong there.
I ain't signing him.
I would change my last name. I would definitely change my
Made
last
it.
name.
But
But
clutch.
if he ends up somehow being a stud, screw it. I mean, it works out. But if one
can't
bad
make
kick,
any
he
mistake.
blew it.
Blewett.
We knew it. His last name told us.
We knew it. Blewett.
Stuff like that. But Sam Koch, even though he's retiring, okay, he's going to remain with the team as a special teams consultant. The reason he's doing that, I believe, is because, the Ravens used their 4th-round draft pick this year to draft Penn State's punter, Jordan Stout. So I think he's kind of going to be staying in that consultant role to probably, teach this guy, show him the ropes, and show him the ins and outs of really how to punt in the National Football League, especially in outdoor stadiums like the AFC division or league actually has. I mean, Baltimore, outdoor stadium. Got to kind of deal with some wind over there in Maryland, especially snow sometimes. And who else is it? Cleveland Browns. They got to go to First Energy Stadium. That place.
The Great Lakes.
Exactly. Definitely pretty windy. Pittsburgh, okay? Going to be raining. Going to be windy. Going to may potentially snow. And then you look at Cincinnati. Like, this is, I think, a good little, how do you want to say it? It's like a good trade-off, if you will, because even though he's retiring, he's staying with the team, he's still sticking around the sport and kind of showing these young guns, these young bucks, how to really do it. So
Sounded like it was planned.
definitely,
A long time ago.
yeah, it had to have been, especially after 16 years. I mean, he's made all the money he's
Before
needed
the
to.
draft, they're like, yeah, I'm probably going to retire this year, so if you want to get somebody,
It's probably
or
definitely.
they're just like, hey, there's this really good punter that we're looking at, if you want to take him under your wing for a year, and he's like, you know what? I'll just hang it up and coach the kid.
And that's even better because then
Yeah.
he doesn't have to worry about losing his job and never getting this role in the first place because they had to fill this role eventually, So I think it's a good little trade off and send off for Sam Koch. So that was probably some of the basically the only news. But we got one more little bit of news before we get John's thoughts and stuff that's happened this week. So Fox, obviously, we all know about Tom Brady's 10-year, $375 million deal to be Fox's leading analyst or broadcasting analyst or whatever you color commentator when he retires. $37.5 million a year. But until he retires, there's a role to be filled. Kevin Burkhardt already has the play-by-play. So who is going to take the color commentating role? That has been the question for quite some time, at least the last couple weeks. Is it going to be Sean Payton, who ended up retiring from head coaching role in New Orleans Saints? Is it going to be a Greg Olsen, who has called a couple games, been exceptionally well at what he's been able to do? Is it going to be Drew Brees, just left NBC? We'll get John's thoughts on those in a little bit. Who is going to take over that role? Ultimately, in the end, Greg Olsen lands the Fox color commentating deal for this season at least, okay? Because if Tom retires after this year, it's Tom's job. It's basically already set in stone. So Greg Olsen will be alongside Kevin Burkhardt this upcoming season, and they will also have this year's Super Bowl. So it'll be really exciting to see what Greg can do in the box, not only the whole year, but in the Super Bowl. Trying to make it electrifying.
Yeah, I like Greg Olsen. I think he's a good announcer. He knows how to draw you into the game, but also not do too much like some guys have been doing lately.
Yeah, Tony Romo.
And he's just right there in the middle. I think he'll be a good fit.
I think it's perfect fit, yeah, because he's had some good roles, some major roles every now and then when he's had to fill in for people, but like right when you get to see him step on that stage, you just kind of know, oh, you're going to learn about football. Okay, you're not just going to watch football, you're going to learn and get insight on why, certain people do this. And I think it's going to be a good fit. I'm pumped for it because they get this year's Super Bowl, so we'll really see what Greg Olsen has in store for us, because if he does an exceptional job, that obviously opens the doors for other opportunities around the league, like an NBC, a CBS, well, maybe not CBS or ESPN, but you get it. You get what I'm trying to say there. It definitely opens the door, especially if he excels. So good for Greg Olsen. We now know who's going to be the main broadcasters for Fox, which is Kevin Burkhardt, Greg Olsen. NBC, which is going to be Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth. Amazon Prime, which will be Thursday Night Football, will be Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit. CBS, okay, we already know Tony Romo and Jim Nance. And then last but not least, ESPN, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. So we already know our broadcasters. Now it's just wait time for who's going to be the starters, who's going to be on the field for all these NFL teams, because we got rookies among rookies that are fighting for jobs at rookie mini camps, and now OTAs will start up here in I think a week or two or something like that, and then training camp, and then we move forward. So with that being said, a lot has happened this past week. A lot of it has happened, starting with the Drew Brees situation, right? Because earlier in this week, and I already sent it to John when it did happen, and Logan as well, where Drew Brees is done at NBC. Does that mean he's coming out of retirement? Who knows, right? Because Drew Brees went on Twitter and said, man, signing Jarvis Landry and Tyrann Mathieu makes me want to come back and play again. Great additions, leaders and players. And then he follows up after that, because a lot of speculation was starting to roll around the internet. Oh, he's coming back. He's going to be a Saint. Drew Brees goes on Twitter and says this as well. He said, despite speculation from media about my future this fall, I'm currently undecided. I may work for NBC. I may play football again. I may focus on business and philanthropy. I may train for the pickleball tour, senior golf tour, coach my kids, or all of the above. I'll let you know. So, John, Drew Brees coming out of retirement, is he stepping foot back on that football field or what?
If he can get a starting spot, I think he would, but he ain't gonna play backup.
You don't know.
No.
There's no way.
So, I don't know. Sounds like he's pulling a page out of the Aaron Rodgers book.
Why you say that? Just kind of...
I might not. Could do this. Could do it all.
Kind of keep you on the edge of your seat a little bit.
But, no, basically what he's saying is I'm not done. If anybody wants to give me a chance, then call me.
Oh, yeah? Especially because he just got surgery, too, on his shoulder or whatever that was. So that's huge.
That's what he's saying. By saying, I could do this, I could do that. That's his way of, like, throwing you off. But what I got out of it, the reason why he said what he said initially was because he wants somebody to call him.
Right. Do you think that'd be the Saints? Do you think the Saints would be a real opportunity there, even though they just signed Jameis Winston to an extension or whatever, and he's going to be supposedly their starting guy?
That's the thing, is they just signed him. He went 3-3 last year.
5-3.
5-3 before he got hurt. So yeah, winning record, statistically did really well. And Sean Payton isn't there anymore.
Right.
So
Dennis Allen's their head coach.
It would just be a matter of, do the Saints want Brees back? And put that situation on Jameis Winston when they're trying to build around him.
And that'd be tough, too, because we put that on Jameis. What is he thinking? Because he said he's like...
he didn't play at all last year.
No, exactly. And I can't remember where it was. It was on Get Up or Good Morning Football where he basically came out. He's like, God, it was somewhere along the lines where like he enjoys the game of football, but what he enjoys most is playing the game of football, and he realized that being out basically the entire season last year. So if you do that to Jameis, it's kind of like you're just stomping on his grave, basically. Like, all right, well, we're done with you because now Drew Brees, most likely, if he does come back, 1 more year. That's basically all he has left. Maybe 2, maybe. But the Saints it'd be a tough situation there because, yeah, that's where Drew Brees has created his legacy. But
then he has to stay healthy in the entire season.
right, because if he gets hurt, it's like, oh, that's
Then
for
this
nothing.
whole season's in shambles, and then the whole situation gets dicey with Jameis.
Right. See, in my opinion,
It's not worth the risk to me.
yeah, I don't think he's coming back. I think he just threw this out there because he threw the second tweet out there because the first tweet he was basically praising the Saints for doing what they did and like, wow, okay, this is nothing that I've seen in the past. Like they're actually making some good strides here. Maybe make that extra push to finally get to that Lombardi yet again. And, with all that speculation, he's like, okay, well, now I got to kind of get in there and do my riddle. Do a little riddle here for folks to kind of ponder at and stuff. So I don't believe he's coming back. He left NBC, or what it was supposedly the reason why he left NBC was because he wanted to be like a lead broadcaster. And with Chris Collinsworth signing a massive extension, there wasn't enough primetime games, high caliber games that he would be able to call. And that's ultimately what he wanted to do. He wanted to be in the booth, not on what is it called? Like the stage with the other guys kind of like breaking down the game a little bit, not being the broadcaster. That's what he wanted to do. And he didn't get many opportunities doing it, but that's why he left from what I've noticed or from what I've read on the internet and seen on the internet. So, I mean, I don't see him coming back. It's just, I think he made his decision, and I think he's sticking with it. He's going to definitely coach his kids, okay? I mean, we've seen the videos all over the internet, him and his kids throwing the ball, hitting the baseball, whatever the case may be. But I think ultimately in the end, he's just waiting for one of those jobs to open up, or maybe he's going to take a Fox deal, or maybe he's going to take an ESPN deal and do something like that. But for right now, I think the speculation, I think we kind of can veer off of it because, in my opinion, it just doesn't really mean too much. So that's the deal on the whole Drew Brees situation. But John, some massive news happened this week. Some massive news that I believe you might be pumped about. Your Green Bay Packers just, extended a cornerback in Jareer Alexander and made him the highest paid corner in NFL history. Are you pumped or what?
Heck yeah. He's a great centerpiece in our secondary. And we got an amazing secondary now with Eric Stokes, Jareer Alexander, Adrian Amos, Darnell Savage. Let's see, who else we got?
Rasul Douglas, I think, is still there.
Nice.
Yeah, that's huge.
Perfect.
And then you boosted your defense in the draft with that linebacker, something fucking Devontae Wyatt or something like that. I can't remember his first name, but something Wyatt.
And then a defensive lineman. But yeah, I'm pumped. I mean, we got a shutdown corner for at least the next 4 years and a great leader, great piece of the Packers defense. So.
Yeah, 4 years, $84 million, folks. That's massive, massive money. He gets $31 million this year, basically for this season. But by next March, he'll have raked in $42.5 million. And with that I think he got a $30 million signing bonus. That's the highest signing bonus that any defensive back has signed in NFL history as well.
When you got a guy like that, you gotta pay him.
Exactly.
Rams aren't complaining about Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, he might give up play water 2 times, but I mean, most of the time he's consistent. That's what you're looking for at the cornerback position, is consistency.
Who else is a highly paid corner?
The second highest paid corner, which is Denzel Ward, $20.5 million.
Yeah, they ain't complaining about paying him.
Nope.
I mean,
It's tough.
corners.
When you find a corner, you keep that corner because
It's such a hard position to play nowadays.
Yeah, you gotta stop the run at some points. You gotta guard literally like the hardest position in the National Football League, the wide receiver position, in my
Going
opinion.
up against guys like Devontae Adams,
Diop,
Yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins, and it's such a tough position. And like I brought it up a couple times, Darius J. Butler, who played defensive back in the NFL, I said you need 6 starters at your cornerback or your secondary D-backs basically to really be a solid group, a consistent group. You need 6 legit starters. And to lock up Jareer Alexander, that's a massive lockup because then you could pair him with Eric Stokes, who's young and poised. Was he a rookie last year?
Think so.
I think he was too. So he's coming into his second
We still
year.
got Kevin King too.
Yeah,
He's
so
been in the
like
red zone.
you can plug and place. If people get tired, you can quick throw them in there for one play, and it's just Green Bay's doing everything possible that they can at this point. The other day I kind of brought up I think I brought up the possibility of maybe a wide receiver like OBJ was connected to Green Bay, but in my opinion, they don't need a wide receiver. Okay, they just got Sammy Watkins. They drafted Christian Watson, Alan Lazard's still there, Randall Cobb's still there. They're good at the wide receiver position. They may not have a standout guy, but one of those guys is going to be the standout guy. So Green Bay did an excellent job of extending Jareer Alexander. Right when I seen it, I'm like, that's a no-brainer. That is definitely a no-brainer. You have to do that. But missing, what he missed 13 games last year? 'Cause I think he played the first 4 and then was out till like
I think
the last.
he actually missed the whole season until the playoffs.
Yeah, I think
I think that they just said he might have played the last 2 or 3 games.
Yeah, I think so. Because it was David Bakhtiari who didn't play.
Oh yeah.
So Jareer played a little bit, but he's not going to miss a step. I mean, he's still at the top of his game. He's young. He's ready to rock and roll. He hasn't even reached his prime in some people's opinions, including mine. So Green Bay did an excellent job there, locking up.
Packers having a history of a great corner out there with Charles Woodson, and we've been trying to fill that void ever since he's gone.
Oh
so.
yeah, and it's been rocky.
Yep.
It has been real rocky. But you guys still find a way to win. Okay, I mean it is what it is. But when you don't have that corner, okay, it's the Vikes division. Sorry about it, but it usually is the Vikes division or the Bears. Maybe not this year. They don't got a wide receiver, so bummer on their part. But yeah, Green Bay looking pretty good, look pretty solid. ESPN this year, as I brought up, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, will finally allow flex scheduling weeks 14 through 18 next season. So what that means is you can take a Monday Night Football game, like if it's between the Jags and the Jets, and they both have shitty records, you can take that game and flip-flop it with a Sunday game, or a Sunday noon game, or a Sunday afternoon, or Sunday prime game, to kind of pique people's interest more than it originally would have. So they haven't allowed that for the last couple of years. The only reason they have the flex scheduling, like I think it was last year, was because of COVID, or 2 years ago was because of COVID, because of all the outbreaks and stuff. This year, no flexing at all. The schedule is set in stone. Good luck. But next year they're going to allow it. At least ESPN is going to allow the flex scheduling. Your thoughts on that? What do you think about it?
I like it. I mean, Monday night game, I don't want to see 2 crappy teams play.
No.
I want to sit down and watch a good game of football. Watch 2 good quarterbacks go at it. Talented people. I don't want to see an XFL game Monday night.
Right, and it's kind of weird too, because years ago, Monday Night Football was the king of primetime. Like, it was amazing. Like, you get home from school and you just couldn't wait, and all of a sudden, Vikes Packs Monday night. All right, and they're like, okay, we got to sit down and watch this. And now it's kind of shifted to the Sunday Night Football is like what everyone's waiting for, like the marquee game. And I think they're trying to even it out a little bit where both Sunday and Monday night are like the same like amount of like, energy around it, surrounding that game. And we need it. We definitely need this flex scheduling because it only helps out the game. It only helps out, viewership. Okay, because if it's the Jags versus the Jets, and both of them have losing records, you went from Sunday night primetime game to having like 50 million viewers or whatever the case may be to 2 million viewers, okay, or 10 million viewers, because they got other shows they can go watch. Who wants to watch that? We'll find out the outcome tomorrow. But they're trying to even that out a little bit, and I think they're doing an exceptional job, the right job of doing so. So flex scheduling will become a thing. Hopefully, more stations or more programs like an ABC or an NBC, CBS and Fox, Amazon Prime will try to allow that as well, because I think we need those high caliber games in those primetime slots, like a Chiefs Bills, Vikings Packers, Patriots Bills, or stuff like that. Cowboys Eagles. I mean, that Cowboys Giants maybe if the Giants start picking up steam, maybe, but definitely Cowboys Eagles. I think that'd be a fun one to watch. So yeah, ESPN finally will allow flex scheduling 2023. And last but not least, you know, we started this whole off season with getting real pumped up about the United States Football League. Since week 2 of that, couldn't tell you if it's still going on. Haven't really checked into it much. It sucked. Okay, it stunk. Sorry about it. It was ass football. And when you have a person on your team who's smoking a cig middle of practice, instantly a turn off. Instantly not gonna watch it. And that was a big reason of why I never turned it on again. Never even looked back at the schedule and stuff, because that right there tells me none of these guys give a shit about making it back to the NFL or even trying to make it back to the NFL. But one league in particular that has been kind of taking a little hiatus, finding new ownership with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and others as well. The XFL is coming back in 2023. John, are you excited for the XFL?
Oh yeah, I love the XFL, and I think that the guy that they got running it is an absolute genius.
Oh yeah.
I think it's in good hands right now, especially with deals. It was Disney Plus was one of them.
Yeah, so the XFL, they've reached a multi-year agreement with ABC and ESPN, which ESPN I think is partnered with Disney, so they have a deal with Disney as well, who will have exclusive broadcast rights for all 2023 through 2027 game day content, tentpole events, and more. Not sure what a tentpole event is. Okay, maybe that's like the Brees show or something. I don't fucking know. And more. Each season's 43 games will be aired and streamed across ABC, ESPN, and FX. So, I mean, that's a massive deal, because I think the USFL, I want to say they signed with NBC, USA Network, and I think they did Fox as well. I think they did Fox Sports. Not FX, I think, is different than Fox. So, yeah, I'm pumped for it. I mean, I think I'm more pumped than the USFL. I was excited to see what the USFL had, but...
Yeah, it just didn't have that professional feel to it, and I think that that's something that the XFL, Dwayne Johnson, will look at and be like, hey, this is what we can learn from. Don't let that type of shit slide. Don't cut someone over a freaking chicken sandwich.
Right.
You know? Let's
be
do
men
this
about
right.
this. Let's be professionals. This is a business. This ain't a high school practice, okay? This ain't a high school
We're
game.
adults.
Exactly. Like,
Just try getting you in the league. That's what this league is for.
right. And another thing I think the XFL has done, or did way better than the USFL, and at first I was okay with USFL doing this, but having your stadium at your location. Like, not having one stadium in Birmingham, that's where every team plays for the whole season. No, having the St. Louis Battlehawks Stadium be in St. Louis. The Tampa Bay Bandit Stadium be in Tampa Bay. Because then you bring in fans every single week, your fans that are trying to cheer for you. And when you're playing in Birmingham for the whole fucking season for all teams, you ain't going to have fans from Pittsburgh coming down to
Every
Birmingham.
single week.
No, it's just not going to happen, because I found that out real quick. Okay, I watched first week Birmingham game against the Generals. There was fans. It was going to look electric. I was pumped for it. This is the USFL. Okay, let's go. Next couple games, no fans. Then second week happens. Birmingham plays again. I believe it was against the Philadelphia Stars or whatever the case. Fans in the stadium. Every other game, no fans. Okay, Birmingham. That is their fan base right there. The XFL, I think, did a really good job with,
And marketing players. Like, PJ Walker was a standout. They knew how to get his name out there. They posted highlights. They were really good at
their social media
making him a star.
You think Jordan Ta'amu is going to probably transfer over to the XFL?
He might. I don't know.
Because this
I
season's
think
going to come to
after
an end.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
I'd assume, they got till next year. And actually, the XFL is planning to kick off a return season on Saturday, February 18th, 2023. The Super Bowl is on February 12th. February 12th, 2023. So 6
Nice.
days after the Super Bowl, we got XFL football. That's
Smart.
perfect. Very, very smart. Because, most time people get in that football's overstaged, but really, no, it's not. Next week, okay, next Sunday, we got more ball games, okay, 43 total ball games. We haven't even got to see a full season of XFL football yet. They had to quit early because of fucking Uncle COVID came and knocking and put a stop on that. But once we get to see a full season, because it was heading in the right direction. These teams were looking good.
Uniforms look good. It ran well. Only presentation was pretty good. It started out a little bit rocky, but I think after this year it'll be.
Especially with partnering with
yeah.
all these other like major.
And having a
companies.
brain with an actor like Dwayne Johnson
And he actually
brain,
played football
yeah.
too in college, so.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, the XFL's in good hands. It's going to be exciting to watch. More excited to watch that now than I am the USFL because that was awful. I mean, good try. And if you guys stick around, geez, Louise, kudos to you guys. But it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. Haven't seen anything on social media. Haven't even looked at it. Don't want to, okay? Smoking cigs at practice, you're not on my team. I mean, plain and simple. So, with that being said, that is all we got for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in, whether that's on Facebook or on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, hit the like and the share. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe. It'd be much, much appreciated. The world of the NFL may be dead, but the show is not. We continue on tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Time. Like always, hopefully you guys join us. Go enjoy this beautiful weather. Stay safe out there. And you just got your fix with the Wicks. Deuces, folks.